Of course, the good thing about this time of year is deliveries with huge cardboard boxes. And you don't chuck them out because there's my next creeper. Next oil change, sorted. Well, welcome to our video, and it's going to be a video from in the garage today because the weather outside is frightful, dum-de-dum, delightful. No, it is not. It's absolutely shocking. It's atrocious outside. It's just got by blowing gusts of up to 60 miles an hour, which for here is pretty bad, but definitely one to stay indoors. 2 days before Christmas. So I'm going to do a quick video on 5 things that I looked out for or that I found when I was buying one of these cars. So I've had a couple of these. I've had an S197, both the coupe version and now the convertible top version. So these 5 things, I'm not going to say they're tips, I'm not going to say they're tricks, they're just things that I've found that if you're looking for one, they might help you out. This is not just the obvious stuff like service history and previous owners and all the rest of it. I'll take that for granted that everyone does that anyway. This is 5 other things that are probably particular to this model of car. And number one, let's get straight into it, is going to be in this area here, the trunk. All right, so first thing to check when you're going to look at one of these is pop the trunk. Look at the lovely new trunk liner. So even if you open the trunk and it's looking as clean and as spectacular as this one with my new custom made trunk liner, I'll leave a link in the description if anybody wants to look at them. Lift it up. If there's any junk in the trunk, get it out of there. Lift this up and you'll see on mine, don't know if you can make it out in the video, there's a slight dark patch of wood there. I'm getting my own light, there you go. And when I bought this car, there was water pooling in this channel here. See this channel? This channel here, where the wiring loom is, there we go. Water was puddling in there, and the same on the other side. There's a channel there as well underneath the wood. So even before you take the wood off, if yours is like that, or the lining of the trunk, check for leaks there. Now, in the convertible, they can come in 2 places. Either up in the corner, or where mine was coming from, behind this panel. Right? So water drips on one of the plastic tabs. I think it's from the bumper going into the bodywork, and it pops through behind this panel, and water can just get in amongst the seal, drip down here, and you'll find it settles here on this channel. Also, lift up the trunk liner in its entirety and get down into the spare wheel well, and you'll see a little drain plug there. Have a rummage around here. There'll be water pooling in that area, and the same on the other side if it's been leaking, and chances are it will be from one of these 2 spots behind this plastic panel. I'll drop in some footage of a previous video where I addressed these 2 fixes, and you basically fix them with silicone sealant. It's not a big deal. Don't panic. There's nothing too crucial in the trunk here, and I mean, like, if you look at my old videos of a Mercedes R230, the main battery in one of the fuse boxes is sitting right down there and there in this area where the water would get into, and it causes no end of problems. It could be good night Vienna for the car at that point in time, but this one, these are okay because there's nothing too bad down below there. But anyway, you don't want water getting in there anyway, so have a look at them, get everything out of the trunk, go down there and have a feel around these carpets as well. These bits here will be damp, underneath here will be damp. You're not going to be able to feel anything the plastic cover on, but you know, chances are if you're at a dealership or whatnot, they won't want you taking this off. Even a private owner might not want you doing that, but it's not a huge fix. But you might be able to get a bit of bartering going if it is water that's not been addressed. Okay, number 2 is on the inside. Oh, look at that, matching carpet mats as well. I'll show you them. Woofed! From the same place, I may add. Right, I'm going to go and get some lights. It's pretty dark today. Hold on. Yeah, look at that, eh? Check them out. Brand new. Right, so number 2 is one that you have to turn the car on to figure out. So, when I bought this, none of these buttons worked. Some of these worked, and these didn't work. Okay, so you've got your trunk release, the hazards, traction control, and these are your stereo controls and Bluetooth. And this one is a bit more crucial because it operates the screen in front of you here if you've got one of the later S197 models. So if you've got one with steering wheel controls, check that they work. Go through the menus because I was stuck on air intake temperature on a 500-mile drive because my back button wouldn't work on these. And again, they're not too bad to fix. $45 I think for this set and $47 for this set. Don't know why the difference, probably just because I bought them in different days. But I've got a video of how to fix them. I'll link it up in the corner and you can go and see how to replace these if the car that you're looking at and they don't work. And these tend to wear out pretty quickly. So the writing goes, you'll see white plastic coming through on the edges because the covering just is gone on them. And these as well, these tend to go, and I'll show you how to pop this panel off. Again, I've got a video doing that, and these are quite an easy fix. They're not that expensive as well. What you can do as well with these is take them out and use some electrical contact cleaner and see if that works. But if they're all discolored and they're all degraded, then I would just get new buttons. But again, something to test out. Make sure it goes through all the menus on the screen. And if it doesn't, maybe another bartering point if you're a private sale or something like that. Because it will take you time to fix. And you can't do it yourself. You'll be paying quite a few bucks to get someone to do it for you. And also, as a little bonus for this tip number 2, or number 2, whatever we're calling it, driver's power seat. Mine stopped working and I had the seat all the way forward, so I was faffing about in the back trying to fix the convertible leak and I couldn't get the seat back. So this button you have to take off this entire panel here, and this button, the cover here pops off. There's a screw at the back on the convertible here. Take this panel off and you can get in about that, and all I did was clean it with electrical contact cleaner and it started working again perfectly. So if your driver's seat is powered, I think they all are. The newer models come with a passenger power option, but this one doesn't. But see, works perfectly now, but it was literally stuck right up hard against the steering wheel and I couldn't do anything about it. So faff with that, get into your seating position, make sure it works, and if it's not, again, you can replace this button, but if you're not handy yourself, it's a pain in the backside because you need the seat to be right, don't you? Okay, number 3 on the list is rear suspension noise. And on this car, it was clanging like a one-man band as I was driving it, and I knew exactly what it was because it happened to be in the old car as well. And it's the rear suspension sway bar, drop links and bushes will need replaced. And if you want to see how to do that, I'll put a video up into the cards here that you can. I've done this repair on this car already. It's not hugely expensive. It's not a big job to do if you're handy, but it's something you need to consider if you're driving it along and you hear gunk, 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 gunk every time you hit a pothole or a speed bump. And it's just going to annoy the life out of you until you get it fixed. So it's the sway bar, thankfully, they're pretty accessible in these cars, nothing too complicated. But again, it's a common thing for me, having a few of these now that they've all suffered from it. And they don't seem to last long. So I upgraded my drop link bushes and sway bar end link bushes, and hopefully I won't have to replace them for a good few years to come. But don't panic, again, it's not a huge job to do, it's just something else. If you're buying one of these, it might give you a bit of bartering power if you hear those dreaded clunky clunk clunk noises. Alright, number 4 that's happened on this car and the previous one is when you park it up at night and then drive it away, and I can see it pretty clearly on this car because I've got black rubber flooring, is you go under here and it's crying a little bit and there's some orange or red coloured radiator fluid just dripping down the radiator. And this car was actually lucked out on because it didn't come with a tray underneath the engine. I've got a new one there. So if you are having a slight drip from the radiator or the coolant, might not be immediately obvious, but because mine didn't have a tray, I could see it right off the bat. And the coolant, the radiator here, and the coolant is orange in colour, and it's pretty obvious to see. Mine was leaking. I checked all the hoses, checked everything, couldn't find a leak at all, couldn't find anywhere water was escaping. It was coming down the radiator, and it was a pinhole, a little pin thing that I could JB weld back into place, or if you get lucky, get some of the Holtz or another brand of radiator stop leak and pour that in and see if that helps. If it's just a minor pinhole, that might do the job. But check for coolant leaks, because that does apply to most cars, let's be honest here. But with this one and my previous one, I've had that as well. So get down underneath it, feel around, see if you can see any drips. And obviously if the car is cold, don't feel it if it's roasting. And see if you can see any of the kind of orangey radiator fluid dripping onto the ground. Okay. Right, and lastly for this video is the paintwork. Now this, I said at the start, we're not going to do obvious things, but all the Mustangs that I've had, S197s, they've got this style of lip down bonnet. They always paint bubble and start to corrode on this lip, and you'll first see it underneath the lip. So get the hood up, get the bonnet up, and check around this lip here for any paint bubbling or corrosion. This one has been completely resprayed. It's absolutely immaculate, this car now. But my previous one, it was like attack of the scab, and all you got was these massive big paint bubbles. I'll try and put some pictures overlay in this video so you can see what I mean. And it was only on this bonnet because I believe it's aluminium, and when I got it resprayed, it was at the time £300 to get the bonnet, the hood resprayed, and use etch primer underneath this, so hopefully it will last a bit longer. My previous car, the fastback that I had, I got it resprayed, that one there. Got that one resprayed as well, and it lasted for 12 years, and the corrosion didn't come back at the time when I'd sold it. So when I first bought it, it only took a couple of years for it to make its appearance. And the paint bubbling is a known issue on these. And I've heard that the new S550s, I say new, they're old now, the S650s out, but the S550s, a lot of people are reporting the same thing on the wings and on doors, other panels. And Ford in the UK, you have to get your paint stamps things done, whatever it is, inspections once or twice a year or whatever it is, can't remember. They are seeming to be honouring quite a lot of repairs, and people report this paint bubbling. But back when I had my car, my 2005 one, there wasn't any Ford Mustangs in the UK from main dealerships, so it was basically just get it repaired on your own. But that's something to look out for. They do all tend to corrode in the same place. And I remember when I first bought my old car, I went to a few places in car shows and stuff, and there's a lot of people had 05, 06, 07 Mustangs at the time, and they all did it. They all did it at some point in their life. It's obviously a flaw from the factory. Well documented issue though, well documented through the web, and you know, it's not something that would put me off buying one, because like I say, they all do it. No matter how you do take care of your bonnet here, it will probably come back. Fingers crossed for mine, it won't, but like I say, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I will just get it resprayed, and it will last years again like my previous one did. So there we have it. That's number 5. You know, and I'm not just going to stop there. I'm just going to give you another couple of things. I know the video said 5, but I'm not one of these people that's going to do a separate video because I went over my limit. So another thing that I look for, particular to the later S197 models, is this panel in here. I'll show you. See this panel here? When I bought this one, it was a horrific state, and I cleaned it with everything and anything that I could find, multi-purpose cleaner, everything, to get these little kind of watermarks and stains off. It just wouldn't do it. I'll put a link to the video so you can see what I did with this one, but I basically resprayed it. And I resprayed it to kind of match the aluminium trim colour that's on the car already. And this panel, no matter what people do, seems to degrade and corrode, and not corrode, but it just seems to stain very, very easily. So I resprayed this one myself, and it's looking brand new. And if it does stain or corrode again, which it probably won't, so I've got enough clear on here to make it about an inch thick, I'll do it again. But that's something to look out for. The interior condition seemed to be pretty poor, only because this panel is pretty big and you do pretty much see it all the time, so it's not something you can ignore. So that was one thing that I knew it could easily be repaired, so it didn't really put me off buying this one either. Alright, so last little thing, on this particular car, I did have some trouble with this, the convertible top. So, on this car, this is a brand new, well, I won't say brand new, it's not that old, a year or two maybe, top, and it's a replacement top. It's not a Ford OEM one, although it does come with the Ford logo on the back window. So these can leak quite severely here along the seams when the windows start to kind of peel away from the backing. Mine, however, leaked down at the corner, right where you can't get into with your hands, between the bodywork of the car and the edge of the convertible top, and here as well. And the reason for it was, it looked as if perhaps there wasn't stainless steel staples used to fix the convertible top lining onto this. As a U-shaped metal bar goes round here, it's like a floating bar, and it's bolted on here, and the same at the other side. And mine was kind of loose a little bit. When I popped it out here, all the staples started to come out. A lot of them were corroded, so I replaced them with stainless steel staples, and I also used some convertible top sealer, which I've got some here, just to go over them in case water was getting in between some of the staples. This stuff here, Storm Sure flexible repair adhesive. So I've got a couple of videos of me doing that, and using that has stopped the leaks. Now, most times online I've seen people complaining about leaks from here, and it drips onto the kind of passenger parcel shelf area below, and mine was coming in through there. But even after I checked all this, I had to check all that as well and go down and fix the corners and re-staple the top on to the bar. And after I've done that, it's been leak free ever since. So don't let that put you off buying a convertible. If you do get some leaks on it, take a look at the kind of common pinch points. The good thing about this is a soft top convertible, whereas a hard top convertible Mercedes that I had another seam there, another seam there, another seam there, because it was a folding hard top. This is all one piece, so it's pretty good. Okay. Alright, well hopefully those things have been helpful. If you are in the market for one of these, nice one, they're great cars, you won't regret it. For the short period of time that I didn't have one, I always wanted to get another one, so none of these things would put me off buying it. I like fixing it, of course, and what I've got to do next on this one is flush and clean out the brake fluid. The brake fluid is practically black in colour. It's almost matching the oil that's in the car, which I need to change as well. And I need to do a rear reverse camera, and I've got some decals to put on the sides. I'm going to order some stripes for the bonnet and the little bit here and the boot. And I've also got this red leather patch here that I'm going to do a bit of an interior upgrade with. So, plenty more videos to come on this car. Hope you've enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.